Okay, so let's get started here. First and foremost, if you have not joined my website yet, guitarlickdojo.com, please check it out. There's a link in the description. You will get all the tablature for the solo that you saw at the beginning of this video, including interactive tablature, downloadable tablature, as well as the backing track. So definitely check that out if you have not yet. In this lesson here, I'm going to go over a couple of the concepts here, a speed building strategy, and then some of the ideas of where these licks came from. But if you want the tablature for the licks, all the licks, you'll have to join my site, guitarlickdojo.com. Okay, so first let's talk about the speed building strategy. Okay, so the basic strategy that I use for building speed that works really well for me is basically this. You take a small piece, and I'm showing this in this video just in reference to some of the licks that I'm playing at the end, that I'm playing up high in the register up here. Pentatonic licks that I'm just blazing and playing really fast. So I'm talking about how to build speed to be able to play licks similar to that. So I'll show you the basic concept here. What I do is I take a really simple fragment. So something like this. So that was a 6-note little lick, right? A really simple pentatonic fragment. So I'm just pulling off 18 to 15 on the first string, and then 18 on the second string, and then hammering 15 to 18 on the second string. So, and then landing on the 15 on the first string. So a 6-note little fragment. So if I were to take something like that, some real simple thing, and want to build the speed up of that, here's basically what I would do. Because it's a 6-note lick, I would start off playing in 8-note triplets. Makes it really easy to work out this lick because it's 6 notes, to work out with triplets. Two sets of 3 notes, right? So if I have the metronome going here, it would sound a little something like this. So okay. So to have the metronome going, 8-note triplets. So it'd sound like this. We got the metronome going. So I would play a few repetitions at that speed, right? Now, next, I would immediately go into playing that same lick, but at 16th notes. The timing's a little bit weird because it's a 6-note pattern and we're playing it at 16th note speed. It doesn't quite match up with the beats as evenly as it did when we were playing with triplets. So it would sound a little something like this. Here's triplets again. And then here's 16th notes. Now, that transition is really important. Being able to train your hands to play with that kind of weird rhythm, that does a lot in improving your timing. And once you get the timing feel down, that is what really enables you to play faster. So don't underestimate the power of that little strategy there, of playing a lick where the number of notes in the lick doesn't quite match up with the time signature that you're playing. So I would do that. Sixteenth notes, and then finally I would get into 16th note triplets. So that is the whole 3-step process there. I play the 6-note lick once, a few times at triplet speed, 8th note triplet speed. Then I play it a few times at 16th note speed. Then I play it at 16th note triplet speed, meaning 6 notes per beat. So the whole thing, if I were to play it together, it would sound like this. And I would just keep on doing that over and over again. I'd go back to triplets. Then to 16th notes. Then 16th note triplets. And that's the basic idea. So this worked really, really well for me. And I think the reason why it works so well is a couple things. First, what I already mentioned, that ability to play the lick over different rhythms, moving from triplets to 16th notes, that really trains your hands to have really good timing. And you're only really able to get faster, I believe, when you have really, really solid timing. So that. And then the fact that you're not playing as fast as you can the entire time. You play fast and then you go back and you play it slow and then build it up again. You're reinforcing good technique. When you're playing it slowly, you're playing with good technique. It's easy to play at that speed. So you're kind of enforcing the good habits of your technique when you're playing slowly, as opposed to just playing fast the entire time and then getting sloppy. And once you get sloppy, it becomes difficult to build speed. It doesn't sound good because you're going back and playing at a slower speed. I think that helps a lot too. The fact that you're stopping between each section too gives you a chance for your hand to take a break, gives you a chance to analyze what parts of the lick you played well and what parts of the lick you did not play well. So rather than just playing a lick over and over again without stopping for an hour or something like that, where you don't really have that time to reflect on parts of the lick you're playing well and parts of the lick you're not playing well, with that little break in between each section, you're able to sit and analyze, okay, I didn't quite pick that first note very strongly, or when I'm pulling off on the highest string, I'm not pulling off very strong, and you're able to correct and adjust and make improvements on that lick. And then again, because you're going back and playing it slowly again, you're really able to more easily make those adjustments. So on the surface, this seems like a really simple strategy. We're just playing it a couple times and slowly building up speed and then doing it over and over again. But I think underneath that strategy, when you really analyze it, I think there's a lot of really sophisticated tools for how to improve your speed here. So that is the strategy. When I'm getting just a basic little movement down, that's basically the strategy that I use most of the time, and it works out really well. So experiment doing that with little licks that you're starting to work on, and I guarantee you'll see a lot of improvement. So that is the speed building discussion. Okay, so now for a little bit of theory discussion about how I came up with a lot of the licks that you're hearing on this track here. So again, if you want all the licks and you want the backing track, join my site, guitarluckdojo.com, and you'll get full access to all this. What I'm talking about here is really the idea behind a lot of these licks. And to understand that, the first thing you have to understand is the chords that are being played here. So this backing track is basically 3 chords. It's G minor, and then we have E flat 7, and then C7. So it's something like that. So the thing to point out here is that if you look at those chords, if you look at this E flat 7 chord, that's really not part of the G minor key. If we analyze the notes of G minor, We got that sound. Look at the notes in the or the E flat dominant 7 chord. We have so right off the bat, you'll notice that you have the 7th of that chord. That is not in the G minor scale. So that is not in the G minor scale. That's actually the flat 5th of G. That's the blues note, right? So that's a unique note. And then when we get to the C, we have the major 3rd of C, the E. That note is also not in the G minor scale. So if we take a look at this, the E note is this. Instead of E flat, that's E flat, here's E. So basically what that means is that when we have that C dominant 7 chord, the G minor scale kind of turns into G Dorian, because we have in relation to the G note, that minor 6 becomes a major 6. So instead of, we have so a different sound. So that concept right there, where we're playing chords over the G minor chord that have that one extra note that is not in the G minor scale, understanding that is really the key to understanding where these licks come from. Because when those chords come up, I'm playing the target notes that make those chords unique in the licks. So it really paints the notes well over those chords that are happening in the background. So so here's the basic concept with a lot of the licks I'm playing, and I'll play a really basic idea here in a second. Over the G minor chord, which is playing most of the song, you can basically stick to the G minor pentatonic G minor scale. So that's what I'm doing in a lot of the song. When I get up to that E flat dominant 7 chord, I make sure to emphasize that the 7th of E flat, which happens to be the flat 5th of G, whenever I hear that chord come up. So if I was transitioning from the G minor to that chord, it might sound something like this. So you'll hear me do that at a few points in this solo where I land on that note that is very obviously part of that E flat dominant 7 chord. So we land on that note. Now let's take a look at the C7 chord, which comes next. Again, the characteristic note of that chord that makes it really stand out is the E note, the major 3rd of C and the major 6th of G. So whenever I hear that note, I kind of switch to the mode where I'm looking at that note in the arpeggio. I'm kind of thinking G Dorian. I'm just trying to target that note because that's really the target note of that chord that makes it really stand out. So one of the licks that I play at the beginning, I don't think I'm going to get it note for note, but the idea is land on the 7th of E7 and then land on the 3rd of C when those chords come up. So it sounds like this. I played something like that at the beginning. So I'm playing in G. And if I just play the chords keep that sound in your head and listen to the chords. So that's the basic idea. I'm really targeting specific notes over each of those chords, and I do that throughout the solo. So again, if you're a member of my site and you have access to all the tablature, I also put all the chords there as well, so you're able to really analyze over each of these different chords the notes that I'm playing and how those notes fit with the chord. And once you get that concept down, it opens up a lot of possibilities for coming up with really cool sounding licks and playing licks that just go with a song much better, instead of just picking a key and just jamming out and say this chord, this song's in G minor, and just playing, G minor pentatonic all day. Now you're thinking in terms of chords that are being played in the background, and it's a much more musical approach to soloing, as opposed to just picking a key and just playing licks as fast as you can. So that is the big concept from this lesson. Again, if you want all the tabs, downloadable tabs and interactive tabs in the backing track, join my site, www.guitarlickdojo.com. Thanks everybody for watching.